You're live with eNCA now. A very good afternoon to you. I'm Tembekile Mkhototo. The ANC has been holding a briefing on social transformation, one of the key areas as the country builds up to the national elections on May 8th. Watching that story for us this afternoon is eNCA political editor Vuyo Mvoko, who joins us now live from the ANC's headquarters at Luthuli House. Vuyo, afternoon to you. What are the main takeaways from this briefing today?
Good day, Tembekile. Indeed, we are coming to you live from the ANC's headquarters, Luthuli House here in the Johannesburg CBD. Well, quite a number of issues they touched on today about what it is, clarifying their policies on a whole range of issues on education, on health, housing, and so on. But a couple of issues really got discussed here. One of them was the ANC's attitude towards gender issues. And a point that a couple of journalists made was that, looking at the ANC's, how the ANC treats the issue. I mean, look, not too long ago, you had Bulemabe, the national spokesperson of the ANC, embroiled in that sexual harassment case. And what came out of that was that actually the ANC did not have policies in place to sort of deal with such issues adequately. Over the past week, you had the Gender Commission having called in 6 of the top political parties in the country, and what came out of that was that as much as the ANC was ahead of other parties when it comes to representation, but when it comes to actually dealing with those issues, it was sadly lagging behind. And today the ANC admitted that they haven't done as well as they would have wanted to, but of course insisting that a lot of work is happening behind the scenes to make sure that the issue of gender equality does indeed take center stage. Another issue, which is probably a new story from what I know, I don't remember hearing this from anybody before. The Minister of Education, while talking about what they are doing in the education space, said or disclosed today that they are looking at a proposal in terms of which they will look at an agency, a state agency, something akin to PRASA, which will deal with the building of schools. In other words, take the function away from the Department of Education, set up an independent, a parastatal, really, not so much of an independent organization, but a parastatal that will then be tasked with building and repairing schools throughout the country. She reckons that if that proposal was to carry, it would, one, save the state some costs, and secondly, it would bring in efficiencies within the system. But she did emphasize that proposal has not yet been formally put on the table, but it's the one proposal that she believes will introduce a great deal of changes. Remember, we've been running stories over the past couple of weeks. I think one of them, that school is called Driehoek, where it was a disaster waiting to happen. So she reckons that if this proposal was to indeed go through, it would begin to deal with such issues. Those issues, those two issues were, I would say, Tembekile, perhaps the strongest to have come out of this particular briefing.
Vuyo, I see you've lost your earpiece there, so I don't think you're able to hear me, but while we get Vuyo some time to reconnect with us, let's look at what else has come out of that briefing. I'm looking here, the ANC saying that in 1994, only 6 out of 10 South Africans had access to clean drinking water. Today, that figure has increased to nearly 9 out of 10 South Africans. And Vuyo, it is that retrospective tone that the ANC has taken today that may well work against them, because a lot of the critics of the governing party say, well, the progress that hasn't been made, while there are positives as far as the provision of water, housing, and that sort of thing, it simply hasn't been good enough.
Indeed, which they too acknowledge. In fact, right at the end, of the briefing, Mondli Gungubela, who is the deputy chairperson of the subcommittee that deals with social transformation, did make that acknowledgement that they are the ANC has not been able to do what it would have wanted to do, and part of the problem, in the 25 years that it has been charged, that is. But one of the problems, he says, is that, and it's a fact, there has been corruption. They have been derailed by the attitudes of some of the Arcaders over the years. Yes, there has been a lot of bickering and arguments over whether this or the other path was the correct one to follow, but emphasizing that more than ever before, that they are going to change those things. Again, the question was, why wait for 25 years? If you couldn't do all the right things in 25 years, what makes you think that if you get given another opportunities by South African voters, you will now do the right thing? Well, and he was then saying, exactly what you've just read, that if you look at our record, when we took over, this is where we are with regard to the building of schools, or how many children from disadvantaged schools were not only getting education, but also getting nutrition, but also having access to clinics and hospitals. You will see that there is a marked improvement, and all we are asking South Africans to do now is give us another chance to finish a job that they believe they have done well so far, notwithstanding the challenges that remain. And of course, part of this doing these briefings, like the one we have just attended, is for them to get an opportunity to one, clarify, in fact, explain themselves, say, this is why we couldn't do the things that we promised to do, but also, they say, to give journalists a chance to actually interrogate them on those shortcomings, and to hear firsthand from the ANC about what it is that they are promising to do. But then, Temegile, before I let you go, one of the benefits of this briefing is that we then get to get an opportunity to ask the ANC leadership about issues that are currently in the news. And we did get an opportunity to ask Mondli Gungubele, for example, about a story that has grabbed the headlines this morning. And that is that Labour believes that he lied before the state capture inquiry by saying that there was no pressure put on him and the rest of the PIC board to resign, and has other testimony has came to the fore at the state capture inquiry later on, after Mondli Gungubele appeared earlier in the week. There seems to be evidence that there was indeed pressure put on PIC board members to resign. Well, he defended himself, saying he didn't lie. Yes, he may not have said things exactly the way the minister said them to him. In other words, he may not have conveyed the information in the minister's exact words, but he doesn't think that he lied. A little later on, we will, of course, send you that clip where you will hear the Deputy Minister of Finance saying that himself. He also spoke about an issue that is also in the news, which is the public protector saying that, slamming, in fact, the finance minister for not having carried through the public protector's remedial action with regard to the Director General of Finance. There again, the Deputy Finance Minister saying no. The minister is taking the public protector's recommendations and remedial action up on review, and there is nothing wrong or illegal about that. Just some of the stories that are in the news which the ANC officials were here got to respond on. And with that, I'll hand back to you.
eNCA political editor and Newsnight anchor here on eNCA. Vuyo Mvoko, for now, thank you.